It was an unusually slow morning at the car dealership in Dallas, Texas. The staff, including the experienced managers, were accustomed to these occasional lulls and didn't think much of it. The dealership offered a diverse range of vehicles, from affordable family cars to luxurious high-end models. The employees had honed their ability to identify potential buyers over the years, making it almost instinctive for them. As the large glass doors of the dealership swung open, an elderly man shuffled in. His name was Charles Miller, a 78-year-old retired schoolteacher. Charles carried a small worn canvas bag and moved with the slow, deliberate steps of someone who had weathered many years. His clothes were shabby, a worn-out cowboy shirt over a plaid shirt, loose-fitting pants, and an old hat with a sagging brim. The senior manager, Mr. Adams, a sharp and haughty man, barely glanced at Charles before concluding that he was not a potential buyer. The staff shared knowing looks, assuming Charles was just there to admire the expensive cars without any real intention or means to buy one. Charles began to examine the cars with great interest, moving from one vehicle to the next with meticulous care. His eyes sparkled as he inspected the sleek designs and shiny exteriors. The staff watched him with amusement, their smirks barely concealed. Charles, seemingly oblivious to their mocking glances, continued his exploration. He showed particular interest in the most expensive car on display, a high-end model that gleamed under the showroom lights. "What's the engine capacity of this beauty and its clearance? Can I look at the interior?" Charles asked in a quiet, hoarse voice. Mr. Adams, annoyed by Charles's persistence, approached him. "The price of this car has increased, and it's actually reserved for someone else," Mr. Adams said, his tone dripping with condescension. "But why is that? There's a price tag on the car. Doesn't it mean the car is for sale?" Charles objected, feeling the snide look of the senior manager. "Another person has decided to buy this car. Moreover, the price of this car increased due to an increase in the cost of imported parts. Anyway, I think you should try the used car section. I'm sure they will find something more suitable for your age and financial condition," Mr. Adams replied, his voice loud enough for the other employees to hear, triggering a burst of laughter among them. Only one person wasn't laughing: Alex Johnson, a 26-year-old junior financial advisor who had recently started working at the dealership. Unlike his colleagues, Alex felt a pang of empathy for Charles. To him, Charles looked like a vulnerable lamb surrounded by a flock of hyenas. Unable to tolerate the senior manager's contempt for the elderly man, Alex stepped closer. "Mr. Adams, can the man see the car after all? He's still our client, isn't he?" Alex suggested quietly. Mr. Adams responded by gritting his teeth, looking at Alex with such hostility that Alex felt completely out of place. He stepped back, defeated. Meanwhile, Charles stood there patiently, waiting for the manager to open the car door so he could examine the interior. Instead, Mr. Adams called security. A burly guard approached and, waving his baton, escorted Charles to the exit. "I think you'd better leave. The car is very expensive, and you aren't exactly young. You might accidentally damage something inside," Mr. Adams said, glad to rid the dealership of Charles so easily. Humiliated, Charles walked away, tears welling up in his eyes. Outside, he finally allowed himself to cry. At that moment, the dealership administrator noticed the canvas bag Charles had left behind. Unwilling to touch it, she used her foot to push it towards the exit. The other employees laughed, appreciating the joke. Alex, feeling a mix of anger and pity, silently picked up the bag and went outside. He caught up with Charles a short distance away. "Sir, you forgot your bag," Alex said, touching Charles's shoulder and handing it to him. Charles looked surprised and grateful. "Thank you, young man," he said, his voice thick with emotion. Alex, embarrassed by his colleague's behavior, apologized. "I'm really sorry for what happened inside. They mistook your appearance for something it's not." Charles smiled weakly and opened his bag, revealing bundles of $100 bills, each neatly strapped with elastic bands. Alex's eyes widened in surprise. "I've been saving up 4 years," Charles explained. "I wanted to buy a car for my wife, Lily. She's battling cancer, and we had to sell our home to pay for her treatment. We moved into a trailer. I've been recycling cans and bottles, saving every penny, but the price of the car went up, and now I don't have enough." Alex listened, deeply moved by Charles's story. Determined to help, he knew he couldn't ignore the old man's plight. This moment marked the beginning of an unexpected and heartwarming journey. Jake couldn't shake the image of Charles Miller from his mind as he returned to work. The sight of the elderly man's tears and the bundles of $100 bills in the worn canvas bag haunted him. The story Charles shared about his wife Lee battling cancer and their financial struggles touched Alex deeply. It was clear that Charles's intentions were genuine, and the humiliation he faced at the dealership was unjust and heart-wrenching. As Alex sat at his desk, his thoughts were consumed by Charles's plight. The dealership's atmosphere felt colder and more hostile than ever. He glanced at Mr. Adams, who was discussing sales strategies with other managers, completely oblivious to the impact his actions had on Charles. The laughter and mockery of his colleagues replayed in Alex's mind, making him more determined to help Charles. After finishing his shift, Alex decided to visit Charles's trailer. He couldn't ignore the gnawing feeling in his chest, the urge to right the wrong done to the kind old man. Alex drove through the winding streets of Dallas, following the directions Charles had given him earlier. He eventually arrived at a modest trailer park on the outskirts of the city. Charles's trailer was small and weathered, but there was a sense of warmth and resilience about it. Alex knocked on the door, feeling a mix of nervousness and determination. Charles opened the door, looking surprised but pleased to see Alex. "Charles, what brings you here?" Charles asked, his eyes reflecting a mixture of curiosity and hope. "I couldn't stop thinking about what happened today," Alex admitted. "I want to help you, Mr. Miller. I know you're trying to buy a car for Lily, and I believe you deserve that chance." Charles's eyes widened in disbelief. "That's very kind of you, Alex, but how could you possibly help me?" Alex handed Charles a small bundle of bills wrapped in cellophane. "This should cover the amount you're short of. It's not much, but it's enough to make up the difference." Charles took the bundle, his hands trembling. Tears welled up in his eyes again, but this time they were tears of gratitude. "I don't know how to thank you, Alex. This means the world to me and Lily." Alex smiled warmly. "You don't need to thank me. Just knowing that Lily will have her dream car is enough. Let's go back to the dealership tomorrow, and we'll make sure you get that car." The next morning, Charles and Alex returned to the dealership together. Charles was dressed differently this time, wearing a business suit and a crisp white shirt. He carried his canvas bag confidently, and the change in his appearance was striking. The staff at the dealership were taken aback, their previous judgments now replaced with confusion and curiosity. Mr. Adams's expression shifted from surprise to unease as he saw Charles and Alex enter the showroom. He approached them with a forced smile. "Mr. Miller, welcome back. How can we assist you today?" Charles didn't hesitate. "I'm here to buy the car I was interested in yesterday." Mr. Adams glanced at Alex, sensing his influence. "Of course, Mr. Miller, right this way." The staff, now realizing the gravity of their mistake, scrambled to assist Charles. They opened the car doors, showed him the interior, and answered his questions with newfound respect. The atmosphere was entirely different from the previous day. Charles examined the car with the same meticulous care, but this time he felt a sense of validation and dignity. After ensuring that everything was in order, Charles pulled out the bundles of $100 bills from his bag and handed them to the cashier. The staff watched in awe as Charles completed the transaction, their previous assumptions shattered. As Charles signed the final paperwork, he looked at Alex with a grateful smile. "Thank you, Alex. You've made a dream come true for Lily and me." Alex nodded, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. "I'm glad I could help, Mr. Miller. Lily deserves this." With the keys in hand, Charles drove the new car off the lot. He couldn't wait to show Lily. When he arrived at their trailer, he found Lily sitting outside, enjoying the morning sun. Her face lit up with joy as she saw Charles pull up in the car. "Charles, is that?" Lily's voice trembled with excitement. "Yes, Lily, this is our car," Charles said, his voice filled with pride. Lily's eyes sparkled with tears of happiness as she embraced Charles. The dream they had worked so hard for had finally come true. As Alex watched from a distance, he felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The story of Charles and Lily was a reminder of the power of compassion and the difference one person can make in another's life. It also served as a lesson to his colleagues and others. Never judge a book by its cover, and always show kindness to those in need. As Katari's Stories of Hope project gained momentum, she realized that her mission was far more than just sharing stories. It was about fostering a community where people could support each other and find strength in unity. Each story she featured resonated deeply with her audience, offering not only inspiration, but also practical advice and hope. One day, while reviewing submissions for the next episode of her project, Katari received a letter from a man, Jack Thornton. His story was different from others. He had been a successful businessman who lost everything in a sudden economic downturn. His letter detailed his struggle to rebuild his life and his desire to help others facing similar challenges. Intrigued, Katari reached out to Jack. They arranged to meet at a local cafe. When Katari arrived, she found Jack waiting with a warm, if somewhat weary, smile. He was in his mid-40s, with a kind face that reflected both the weight of his past struggles and the hope for a better future. As they talked, Jack shared his journey in detail. After losing his business, he had gone through a series of setbacks, including health issues and financial instability. Yet, he never lost his resolve to help others. He started a small charity focused on providing support and resources to individuals and families in financial distress. Despite the small scale of his operation, Jack's dedication was unwavering. Katari was moved by Jack's story and impressed by his resilience. She decided that Jack's story should be the next feature on her project. They worked together to create a powerful episode that highlighted Jack's journey, the challenges he faced, and the impact of his charity. The episode aired and quickly gained traction. People from all over the country reached out to Jack, offering donations and volunteering their time to support his cause. The response was overwhelming, and Jack's charity began to expand, reaching more people in need. Through her project, Katari not only helped Jack amplify his mission, but also inspired others to take action in their communities. The ripple effect of the Stories of Hope project was evident as more individuals and groups emerged, sharing their own stories and contributing to the collective effort of making the world a better place. Katari's own journey of growth and impact continued. She realized that the true essence of her work was in connecting people, nurturing their potential, and celebrating the power of the human spirit. Her project became a beacon of hope and a testament to the incredible strength and kindness that exists within people. In her ongoing efforts, Katari also found personal fulfillment. She built lasting relationships with many of the individuals she featured, each of whom became a part of her extended community. The project evolved into a platform where people could not only tell their stories, but also collaborate on initiatives that made a tangible difference in their lives and the lives of others. As Katari reflected on her journey, she understood that her mission was not just about telling stories, it was about creating a legacy of compassion and resilience. Her work had become a source of inspiration and a catalyst for positive change, reminding everyone that, no matter the obstacles, there is always hope and a chance to make a difference.